Welcome back to the show. Today we continue with our final segment of our interview with Mr. Jason Nixon, who lost his wife Kate in the Virginia Beach mass workplace shooting. So concerning the quote-unquote report that you speak of and the work that the Virginia Beach Police Department is doing, and their report is forthcoming, the investigation is complex, quote-unquote. What was it like in some of the interaction with them? They said they've talked to you and a lot of the survivors. What was that interaction like?
The first week they talked to me, they came to my house because the media was here. They got wind the media was here, so they came to my house. Two detectives, Dewberry and Morales, I think. I can't remember his last name. They came here and they waited for the media to leave. And then we talked about it, and they told me how Kate had been shot 3 times, and they found her halfway under the desk, and this is all stuff I already knew. They asked if Kate had mentioned anything about Dwayne and stuff like that. I said yes, of course. This is what I've been saying from day one. Then I had to go to the benefits meeting, so we had to cut it short. And they came back the next day, and then they asked me some weird questions like, what do you know about innuendos and rumors and, people talking about making things up? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, everything I told you from day one is the truth. My wife told me everything. Me and my wife talked a lot, and she was number 2 in charge of public utilities. There wasn't anything my wife didn't know about going on in that building. And, then, after that interview, that's when the city manager came out with a statement talking about innuendos and rumors, and saying how they redacted Kate's name off the resignation letter, which I knew that was a crock, because Kate was not his supervisor. Kate was the compliance manager. So his site plan work would come across Kate's desk, and she would make sure it was in compliance, which most of the time it wasn't. And then she would kick it back over to his supervisors, which was Rich and Randy, and then they were getting arguments about it. And Kate had some heated arguments, and she would CC Steve on all this. So Steve was aware of all the arguments that went on through this. It's all there. I mean, this is not a rocket scientist investigation. All you gotta do is connect the dots. And I talked to Ron Taylor about this, and he agrees with me. You gotta connect the dots. It's all there.
Yeah.
The timeline, everything. The fact that these employees are coming to me and telling me these things about how he was not a good engineer. I knew this because Kate told me. Kate told me he was not a good engineer. He was horrible. He messed the stuff up all the time. And his direct supervisor knew it. And so did his other supervisor. And then he had his mental issues, which I think is huge red flags. I mean, I'm in the military. If you're distraught, paranoid, and don't want to be around people, you're going for a psych evaluation. Any employment office would recommend a psych evaluation, or at least an HR sit down, and try to find out what's wrong, the root of the cause, and try to fix it or correct it. Was that done? Let's see the files. Show me them.
Jason, you've mentioned the other survivors, if you will, and you guys now have this incredible bond. What's it like when you talk with them, connecting with them?
Well,
how are they holding up collectively?
We a lawyer mentioned this to me, Jeffrey Bride. He was the one in charge of the distributions of the United Way funds, and he made a very good point. We're in a very special select group now. This is a group that nobody ever wants to join. We're in a special club, I guess you'd say, and nobody ever wants to be part of this. I believe that nobody really wanted the family to talk together. There was really no way nobody would have been connecting for a while. I'm the one that kind of like got that started, just by speaking out. And I had other family members agreeing with what I was saying, and then we start making contacts and talking further. I guess you could say I kind of glued all that together, because I don't think the city wanted anybody to talk anyways. I think as long as we're all separated, we're easier to handle and control. And I said, no, we need to be unified. This has to be unified. If we're not unified, we lose everything. We're not going to get the answers we need if we're not unified. You know, and the mayor's come out and he's told me he's going to make this right, and I'm supposed to be talking with him soon. And I'm hoping that under new management, maybe we will see some changes. I'm still holding out hope for that. I'm trying to keep a positive view. But there's unanswered questions. I mean, there really is. And, you know, it goes back to my one point I was talking about with the General Assembly. Why didn't they bring a state investigation team in right away? Why? Why didn't they do that? You know, to me, personally, you think about this, you know, a state level investigation, it was suggested by Delegate Myers. You know, Delegate Myers tried to get that going. And, you know, the General Assembly quickly adjourned. You know, instead of having a serious discussion about the possibility of immediate steps that we could take in, simply saying everything to the Crime Commission was a bit of a cop-out because, I mean, there's issues that were beyond the gun rights and the anti-gun crap. I'm sorry for saying that word, but there was. Because there was also issues with tax issues. So the United Way money, they're trying to pass a law to get the United Way money tax-free for us. You know, and that's a big thing for the families. You know, I was trying to get a bill passed through Jason Myers, we had talked about, where if the city or municipal ever declares a state of an emergency, which is what Virginia Beach did, then the state should automatically step in and take control immediately. The city of Virginia Beach should never had control of this investigation. It should have went to the state immediately from outside sources that were not connected so closely within. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the city of Virginia Beach is going to protect the city of Virginia Beach interest. And they've proven it before.
Jason, you know, the governor and his entire team were in a lot of these initial press conferences, and we in the press kind of assumed that they would be more involved and maybe even be at the ready, if you will, for a situation like you mentioned, maybe bringing in the feds or whatever. Have you heard from maybe some of the higher ups, if you will, who were once so concerned?
I haven't heard from them in a while. They came to the funeral, we talked. You know, from day one, I'm not trying to make this about pro-gun or anti-gun, because that's a debate can be for another day. The answers to the questions we need is what we need to focus on. That's been my platform from day one. It hasn't changed, and I'm not going to change it, and I'm not going to stop until we get the truth. The truth needs to come out, and it's deeper than you think. It really is. People have a lot to lose over this, and I'm sorry, but if you're wrong, you're wrong, and you need to admit it. You need to come clean. There's people out there right now that know things and aren't saying things.
Jason, we know that you've hired a lawyer. Why did you do that, and what do you expect to get out of the lawyer's work as far as this case?
Okay, this is what I want. This is all I ever wanted. I want accountability. Kevin Martingale's my lawyer. He's been helping me through this process. It's been a very strenuous process, and he's been giving me the right directions on things I should be doing and following protocol, whatnot. He's a family friend of mine, first of all. Okay, he hasn't charged me a dime for any of this. He's not in it for the money. He's in it for the finding the facts and the truth. He came to my aid within 15 minutes of us not finding Kate's body. When I called him, I said, I can't find Kate's body. No one knows where Kate's body is. Nobody's calling us. No one's telling us anything. Kevin was in my house in 15 minutes calling everybody he could think of to try to find Kate's body. Only reason we found Kate's body was because Kate's friend was the mortician that did the work on her. She was the vice president of the Civic League here in the neighborhood, and Kate and her were good friends. And she spent 4 hours sitting over Kate, praying with Kate. And she called me and said, I have Katie. I'm taking care of her. And, you know, it tore me up, but it made me feel like she was being taken care of. It gave me more relief knowing that I know someone's taking care of my wife, because I couldn't take care of her that day. You know, when I had to tell my daughters, but their mommy's not coming back. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do. I sat them down and I said, they knew something was wrong because I had them stay at my friend's house. And I said, a very bad man did a very bad thing to mommy. And mommy's not coming home anymore. And there's nothing we can do about this. Mommy's looking out for us now. Mommy's watching out for you guys. And my girls cried, screamed.
They understood.
Yeah. They screamed. They cried. And I'll never get that out of my head. That was the most hardest thing I had to go through. And that dog and pony show they gave me last week, it has lit a fire under me. And I am not going to stop. I'm the most relentless person you're ever going to meet. And I am not going to stop till I get the truth and the answers. It's not fair. It's not fair what they did. It's not fair the fact that it's been 4 months now. It took me over a month to get the private investigators to come in, when they spent $500,000 on cleaning the building up before the investigation team even got to go in there. That's not fair. It's not fair that the state didn't come in and do what they needed to do. The state should have took over ownership of this thing from the day one with the FBI. That's not fair. It's not fair that you let public employees give the police what they want to give them. It's not fair. It's not fair that now I don't know what my wife's emails are that I know very well she written to her boss, CC'd on, and nobody can seem to find these emails. It's not fair. It's not fair that Queen Brown made a sexual complaint and nobody now knows where that's at. Nobody says there's no record for HR of sexual complaint. But you know what? The email's there and it went to her supervisor because Kate told me about it and she was upset. She was completely upset. And I know for a fact, after talking to one of the other victims' daughters, there was another complaint filed against him and no one seems to know where that email went either. That's not fair. It's not fair. And that's why we need a special investigation team that has computer forensics that can come in and tell me who logged in that day after the shootings, who took over these things, who took control, what HR employee did it, what manager, who, because people were in charge, things happen, and I gotta find out. I gotta know, and if I gotta go and find my own investigation, I will. I've already been talking to people about it already, and I've got a lawyer friend over at St. Gregory's that's gonna help me out with that. And we're gonna get to the bottom of this. And this good old boy system, it's over. My wife was murdered. The good old boy system's done. It's over. I don't care who you're looking out for. You're done. And if you're and this is why I'm gonna tell you this right now. If I find out that people that tampered with emails and things were deleted, I want people to go to prison. I don't care about money. I want accountability and I want people to go to jail. Because what that is a criminal act. And if that's the case and that comes out to be true, I want people to go to prison.
Well, Jason, I want to thank you for this opportunity. And again, I am just sorry that this horrible event has come upon you and the other survivors, if you will, families dealing with this. Look, this is a horrible situation. You kind of touched on it earlier. There's some debate now as far as what should happen with the building. People have talked about making it into some type of memorial where people can go and forever remember the victims' suffering. Others talked about tearing the building down, creating a park of some kind. What should happen to that structure?
City Council's already got a building going up next to it, which is a new city hall. Okay, how much money did they spend on that? You're telling me you don't have money to tear this building down, building 2, where 12 people were murdered, 4 people were critically injured? You're telling me you don't have the money to do that? Okay, well, let's look at it this way. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Let's call the governor up and have the land annexed into state ownership, and let's build a state park there. Let's put a state park. Because the money coming for the renovations already come from the state anyways. It's already been shown where the money's come from. They were upset because when they didn't follow through with when they convened, they were supposed to that special convening. they were upset because the city wasn't getting their money. Because they couldn't, they shelved everything into the Crimes Commission. So the city was already upset about that. I mean, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I think it's kind of funny that they're building bulletproof doors for the new city hall. I think it's kind of funny that their employees are still left with nothing, no security. I think it's kind of funny that, you know, in Sandy Hook, they tore Sandy Hook down. Why can't we show that same respect for my wife, for the 11 other people that were murdered and injured, the other 4, the 16 families, the first responders, the police that walked through that building and discovered my wife in a pool of blood, the police that discovered Missy in the stairwell full of blood, the EMS, the city employees themselves. These people saw their best friends murdered, and you want them to go back to work in that building? That's disgusting, and it's disrespectful. And the city of Virginia Beach better wake up about that, because I would be fair about this, and I'd say let's put this on a referendum. Let the city and the citizens decide what to do with Building 2. And if they decide to keep Building 2, then let's stop the construction on the new City Hall and move City Hall into Building 2. Let them go there and work every day where my wife was murdered and the other individuals. Let them go there and feel that every day, because it's not fair. They're worried and concerned about money. We have a $2.2 billion budget in the city of Virginia Beach. I think it might be 2.8 now. You can't tell me the money's not there for that, especially when you're getting state grant money from the state to renovate the building. You can't tell me that you don't have the money for it. It's a personal decision that city council's making, and they're doing it without our permission. The city council works for the citizens of Virginia Beach, not the other way around. We're their employers, okay? They have allocated $3.8 million for this Victims Crime Fund, so they can marry up to Centera, and they're going to build a PTSD center for all the employees. And I know why they're doing it, because now the city of Virginia Beach doesn't have to pay for the PTSD counseling. It's pretty smart, huh? And then you think about it, now they can track them when they go to counseling, and they don't have to take their PTO time. So yeah, it works out great for the employees. But what about the families that are losing their insurance on December 31st, 2019? That we don't have nothing. They put us on COBRA the day Kate was murdered. The day Kate was murdered, they put us on COBRA and paid for it for 7 months. And that expires on December 31st, 2019. Does it make sense? What this all boils down to is that it's HR policies and procedures. It's supervisors following protocol. They didn't do their job. They did not do their job, because if they had, they'd caught this. The red flags were there. They were all over the place. Kate screamed about it all the time. Kate always told them about these things, and they chose to ignore it. They chose to ignore it, and now this is what we have. You know, for the city to come out and say this guy was a satisfactory worker, it's really hard to believe. Talk to the co-workers that work with him every day. It's not true. He was not a satisfactory worker. His supervisor had a job site with him his last day of the site and brought a third individual out there. Okay? This is not a normal, ordinary day for them. He got an email at 10:30 in the morning resigning. The supervisor responded at 10:45. You knew at 10:45 this guy wanted to resign for personal issues? Why didn't you just let him go? Why didn't you just say, okay, go ahead and leave now, we'll pay you 2 weeks? It doesn't make sense.
Well, that's the broadcast for today, and our phone lines remain open. We'd love to hear from you. What do you think about our interview today with Mr. Jason Nixon, who lost his wife Kate in a Virginia Beach mass workplace shooting? If you have any comments, we'd like to hear them. And if there's anything that we can do to assist you in getting your message out and in helping you grow your business, you contact us at Whitehead Media Ventures today. Our contact information is on the screen, and we thank you for your support. Have a great day.